Good evening and welcome to Prime Focus News. I'm Judith James, bringing you tonight's special report on the escalating unrest in Malawi. Lilongwe is the epicenter of chaos as protests by Tsoka vendors turned violent, highlighting growing tensions ahead of Malawi's upcoming elections. Today, vendors marched to the Parliament building to submit their petition. They demanded not only better business conditions, but also an end to the relentless daily price hikes that have strained both traders and consumers. Many vendors voiced frustration over the government's failure to stabilize prices, saying rising costs threaten their livelihoods. When officials addressed the crowd, hopes for real change quickly faded. Perceived empty promises sparked anger, leading to chaotic scenes. Ministers were pelted with stones and forced to flee under a hail of debris. Police intervened and clashes broke out, leaving at least one officer injured. The situation remains tense, with authorities struggling to restore order and prevent further escalation. This unrest raises serious questions about the government's stability as elections draw near. With economic hardship and political uncertainty fueling public discontent, the government faces mounting pressure to show effective leadership. For an in-depth analysis, we now turn to our correspondent on the ground in Lilongwe, Adam, who will break down how this unrest ties into Malawi's broader challenges.
The situation here in Malawi remains highly volatile. What began as a peaceful protest by Tsoka vendors has escalated into a broader expression of frustration, not just with daily price hikes but with the government's overall handling of the economy and the looming elections. Today's demonstration was sparked by a deep-seated discontent among vendors, who are struggling to survive amid relentless increases in the cost of goods and services. Many told me they feel trapped, as rising prices eat into their already slim profits. For many Malawians, daily essentials like food, transportation, and basic supplies have become nearly unaffordable. Vendors argue that they bear the brunt of public anger over high prices, yet they themselves are victims of the same economic pressures. When government officials attempted to address the crowd outside Parliament, what was intended as a dialogue quickly deteriorated. Protesters expressed anger over what they saw as another round of vague assurances without concrete action. The pelting of stones and the chaos that followed are stark reminders of the palpable anger on the streets. The police response has only added to the tension. The deployment of officers to disperse the crowd led to physical clashes, with at least one officer injured. While authorities claim they are working to restore order, many here worry this could lead to a cycle of protests and crackdowns. From a political perspective, this unrest poses a serious challenge to the Malawian government ahead of the elections. Voter sentiment is increasingly influenced by economic hardship, and today's violence could erode public confidence in the administration's ability to govern effectively. Opposition parties are likely to seize on this moment, framing the government's inability to control both the economy and public order as a sign of weakness. Beyond the immediate impact, this situation also highlights broader issues within Malawi's economic policies. The persistent rise in prices points to deeper systemic problems, including supply chain disruptions, inflation, and possibly mismanagement. The vendors' call for price stability resonates widely, as ordinary citizens struggle to maintain a decent standard of living. As the government faces mounting pressure to take decisive action, analysts suggest that meaningful interventions are needed to address both the economic and political dimensions of this crisis. Whether through targeted subsidies, improved market regulations, or more transparent governance, the administration's next steps could significantly influence the nation's stability. For now, Lilongwe remains on edge, with a heavy police presence and an uneasy calm. As the situation develops, we will continue to provide live updates. Back to you, Judith.
Thank you, Adam, for that insightful analysis. As Malawi navigates this crisis, the government's response could shape the nation's future. We will continue to monitor the situation and bring you updates as they unfold. For now, I am Judith James. On behalf of the entire Prime Focus News team, thank you for joining us. Stay safe and good night.